Hello, ball watchers. It's been a while since we've done an interview like this, but Justin and I are super stoked to have you all today listen to a buddy and businessman friend of ours, Luis Manta, who is the founder of Seoul Juice. Justin and I have been talking about Seoul Juice for what feels like months now, and that is because they have a hell of a product, and Luis is an awesome person. And he is coming back to St. Louis as well. So, Luis, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Fan of the podcast, known you guys for a long time now, and glad to one make the partnership official, and two to be a guest on the show.
Yeah, so we got Luis Manta on. Jake and I have known him since freshman year at SLU back in 2013. I played soccer. Luis was in my class in soccer for SLU back then. Jake got to know him in the dorms as well. We'd like to have a good time around there. And also wanted to shout out to Roman Vassell, Big Dome Rome. He's helping out with Luis as well, also a former SLU soccer player. So it's good to have that St. Louis connection. But Luis, just wanted to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little soccer background. Obviously, we played at SLU together, but kind of how did this get started?
Yeah, so college soccer player at St. Louis University with Justin, and floor mate with Jake. So gone back a long time. I think it was my sophomore or junior year. I had a swig of Gatorade, allergic reaction, red dye number 40. So the artificial dye that you find in these sports drinks, I would burst out in hives too. And so instead of having the Gatorade bottles that everyone would throw around, I'd have to only have the water. And prior to practice, they would give me coconut water and have me drink that to make sure I had the electrolytes we were losing in the sweaty St. Louis summers that we would train in. And I hated coconut water. I'd plug my nose, I'd chug it. Absolutely awful. I asked, hey, is there anything else I can have? And that's when our third coach, Blake, and the athletic trainers like, Luis, if you go find something, we'll get it for you, but go find something else. And so I just Googled most hydrating fruit. Korean pear was in the top 5. My mother grew up in Asia, so I was like, oh, I already know I like this. Let me order this juice. And went to order it online. Cost me $50 to ship 2 from Korea. And as we were talking about, SLU did not, I was one, not good enough. And 2, SLU did not have the budget to be spending $25 a can on my hydration. So I just decided to start blending it in my Grand Forest apartment and start passing it out from there. So honestly, it was just more for fun and more to help me out rather than a business. And it got some traction and started scaling from passing it outside of Humphreys when the first one was open, and giving it out at the Standard and things of that nature. So it's kind of how it scaled and where we are today.
It's such an organic story. It feels like it's almost too good to be true how you started this. And it's awesome that every bit of its origin, I feel like, is here in St. Louis, besides the Korean pear, of course. But even then, you still have an awesome tie, back to that. Luis, I want to ask you, I mean, this product, I mean, it's simple, it's clean. Tell us about the ingredients here. Because I mean, if people are talking about what you're putting in your body, I mean, athletes, normal people like me and Justin now, like, we can afford to do a little bit less on the process side and just put something that we know and we can actually read and pronounce, in Justin's case, the ingredients off of the label. So tell us about the product, Seoul Juice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just fruit and water, and that was the big thing for me after having an allergic reaction. I'm in the same boat as Justin. I turn the back of bottles around and not know how to pronounce, let alone what is some of the stuff that they're putting in these products. As I tell people, I went to school to be a soccer player. I'm sure Justin did too, and then going to B school after that was secondary. But yeah, I was very concerned about what I was allergic to. All of these man-made is what I call them, alternatives, and then just all the natural stuff didn't taste good. It's kind of like, and I don't want to talk down because it's gotten a lot better, but gluten-free products, when they first came out, were not, you could tell the difference. A lot of these health products, you could tell this is a healthy type thing. And I was like, I know you can make something taste good and be super clean and natural and get that same feel at the same time. And I think that resonates with a lot of people too. Like, Jake, with you being a new dad, I know that parents are looking more and more at like the back of labels and what they're giving their kids. That's been a huge supporter of us, is like all these youth programs and youth sports, parents going, hey, I don't really want to give my kid this man-made chemical filled product. I want to give them the best thing out there. And that's really didn't exist when we were kids. I just remember taking like the Gatorade scoops of powder and mixing that in a water bottle, or we thought Propel was healthy, and now you look at it, it's all artificially flavored. So it's very interesting to see how much in like 10-15 years the entire health landscape has changed.
Yeah, and I feel like you've been booming with it. So originally, when this started out at SLU, in the dorm rooms and passing it out, like you said, outside of humps, for multiple reasons. I mean, it's for athletes, it could be for hangovers, for anything you want it to be, and it tastes great as well with the amount of electrolytes that you get out of it. But so how did you kind of move from that into actually forming a company then? So as opposed to just making it basically in like a big jug for yourself and then handing it out to let people try, how did Seoul Juice kind of progress?
Love it. And I think this will bring some value to the audience too, because I know there's a lot of crossover between people that are into sports and people that are into business. I know you guys have quite a few of the sports business people on as well to talk about that. So just giving a huge shout out to SLU because of how involved they are in entrepreneurship and helping people out with entrepreneurial ideas, which is so cool because a lot of that community, like the small business entrepreneur community, really talk down upon going to college and like, hey, you shouldn't go to college. You won't, it's not worth your time, energy, and effort. And I'm actually the complete opposite. I'm like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, go to college, go take the classes you want to take that'll teach you. Like, you're not going to wake up and know marketing or accounting. Like, you got to go learn that and get those basic skills in order to scale a business. So that's kind of what I did. I didn't have a concentration. I just took, if I needed marketing help, I'd go to marketing class. I'd take marketing 300, learn how to do it, go from there. Take like accounting 220, go from there. So I'm a big proponent of going to SLU, one, of course. And especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, because there's so much to learn. And SLU paid for all my legal stuff in the beginning. They gave me a grant to start the company. Dr. Katz, I always give a shout out to, who's like the I don't even know how to describe him, the front runner in entrepreneurship. He wrote all the books that schools use and things like that. SLU professor. He sat me down and was like, hey, Luis, you need to turn this into a business. So I'm a huge proponent of, one, going to school. You also have that bubble of a community where people can talk about it, give you feedback, and scale from there. And even Jake, I know your dad, and Worldwide, also another SLU soccer connection that started a company. There's just so much cool entrepreneurship spirit at SLU that comes out of the city, and people are so supportive. Like love you guys, love the podcast, but one of the reasons we partner with you guys is just people support so much. We launch it at Deerbergs, they end up going there. We just did our Sam's Club launch, like we were talking about. We had a couple of your super fans show up and buy product from us. So it's just so cool to have the community behind us helping us out.
Yeah, and you hit on, one thing I think that St. Louis does well for sure, and there's plenty, but is rally around our own and support our own, and we'll circle back around to the St. Louis of it all as we get to the end here. But Lisa, I want to make one more comment before I go into the people side of things, and that is that I feel like you talked about coconut water. Someone come in the comments and let me know if you like coconut water, and I'm going to call you a liar because I want to like it. There's so much, good going for it. But I just never met anyone that's like, I love coconut water, right? I feel like there's the spectrum of, Gatorade on one side, like super processed, but yeah, it is good tasting. And then you have the other side of like all natural, but not the best thing, in terms of taste, like experience wise. And then I feel like you guys are kind of right in the middle, hitting that niche of like, it's good enough on both ends. Like this is natural and it's got a good flavor as well, that you're not miserable, just like, closing your nose and trying to put this thing down as you described. So that's my experience drinking the drink. And clearly you're getting big name athletes and big names in the industry that feel similarly. So Luis, talk us through some of your ambassadors that you've experienced and that you've kind of partnered with as you've grown recently.
Yeah, so we'll start off with Sam Howell, quarterback of the Commanders. He's Korean American, and I think he's one of 3 ever Asian American starting quarterbacks in the NFL, at least in very recent times. And so it's great to have him on board. The Korean community is really behind this product. They know what it is. So having the Korean American NFL quarterback on our team is so cool, and to help push that. Another partner we have, and I don't know if Jake or Justin, you played against him growing up. I played probably 20, 30 times against him, but Jordan Morris, of the Sounders, who I know is a competitor right now, but he's on board. And Jordan's a great guy, U.S. men's national team player as well, and has type 1 diabetes. So all of our partnerships too, I'm really focusing on how they connect with the brand. And what's cool about Soul Juice is a complex carb. So instead of being a simple carb like apple juice where it shoots your blood sugar up right away, Korean pears are broken down more over time. So it does lift your blood sugar and give you energy, but it's more of a consistent energy that goes like a bell curve rather than a straight sugar spike. So people like Jordan that have type 1 diabetes, it's a lot better for them because you don't need insulin to like bring you back down. So Jordan's actually a proponent of it and uses it. It was really cool because I just hit him up playing against him saying when we were launching in Seattle, like, hey, will you post this or try it out? And he wanted to come on as a partner. He's like, hey, this is what I'm going to start using at halftime and stuff. This is awesome. So that was just a cool connection too of someone I grew up playing against, it helping him out for a completely different reason I didn't even realize we could provide.
Yeah, so I mean, providing the health reason for those two, and those guys are literally the top of their sport. A starting NFL quarterback, a starting striker in the MLS for a team that is right behind St. Louis City SC for the Sounders right now, and obviously making a push. So we'll keep the rivalry stuff away from it. We still got to play him again, but for now, we're a supporter of Jordan Morris. But and then there's another ambassador that you have now with the Cavender twins. So for them, a little bit more of a social push and still very athletic. So a little background on them. I know you can give way more than I can, but played basketball at Miami, two twins, and their big focus is on female NIL. So I pulled one of the stats, I believe, from your guys' website, but less than 30% of all NIL funding goes to female college athletes. And NIL deals have only been around for 2 years. So really making awareness on that, but kind of describe their relationship with you and Soul Juice, Luis, and kind of what you guys are going for there.
Yeah, so the Cavender twins are awesome partners. They are one. So when I was looking for partnerships, as you guys can kind of tell, it was all organic, right? So reached out to Jordan because I knew him. He liked the product. Sam reached out to him. That Korean American background fit, it fit with him too. So everyone I was looking to partner with, it was all trying to make sense on who fits our brand. And the twins, our main customer is females, and it's female athletes. So it's like these are the perfect partners. Their dad is an entrepreneur and sold multiple companies. So they have that kind of mentality too, where they were like, yeah, we want to come on in a new startup brand that we believe in and really help and be involved. So they even have a role at the company. So they're both head of partnerships, and they're looking at finding more female athletes to help bring on as Soul Juice athletes who they're also mentor about brand deals as well, which is really, really cool that they're willing to do that and want to be this involved in the company. And yeah, Justin, as you said, what I found that was very unique about female NIL funding is that the NCAA has said schools have to stay out of these NIL deals, and they can't be based on performance on the field. They're supposed to be like brand recognition and social media, tied to social media. Which is really interesting because females have more followers than their male counterparts. They get more engagement on posts, and they actually do better at activations, brand activations, than their male counterparts do. So the fact that they're actually bringing more value to the table and getting less money, I was like, well, this is actually a huge issue, because the whole point is to do social media, and the males aren't as effective. So females should be getting paid more. So we've created this whole campaign where the twins are going to help promote this and bring awareness to this issue. Because I think, I know they might give me some crap about this. I think they were the first NIL deal, like official deal, to happen. I know they were the first female, but I think they're the first deal across the board in NIL funding. So they have like so much experience in it. They're very involved, and they're looking to give back to the NIL community like as much as possible. Like they donate their own money to certain causes and help any female that like reaches out to them. So they're one awesome partners, and they fit our brand, even and all three of us can speak to this. Even after you're done playing, you're still looking for healthy products. You're still trying to actually maybe even more, because I gain more weight now. Like
I was just about to say, I can't be eating like we used to at SLU, making like a box of family size mac and cheese for dinner. If I do that now, I'm not going to
Justin, that is a little bit too nice on yourself. Justin used to come to our apartment and bring a whole box of frozen food for the weekend, and that was his sustenance. But no, Luis, you're hitting on it absolutely. this product isn't just for athletes. It's not just for women. It's not just for any, one person. This is something that everyone could find, at least some level of benefit from, and, doing good by our bodies, which is always a great idea. And Luis, I love, this is kind of bringing us to the end of the segment here is, we're hearing some news, some murmurings per se, about a potential relocation back to St. Louis. So I know you started here. Then you made your way back out to California, right? And now we're potentially going to be able to move back here to St. Louis, which we love STL Made. We love, obviously, like our own, and, wanting to support local businesses as well. So can you give us any little bits on that for the listeners?
Yeah, and so this is you heard it on Ball Watching first. Seoul Juice will be moving back to St. Louis. Over half of our employees are already here. So that's a huge thing. I think we're like at 60% now of employees in St. Louis. And that's always been the goal. The reason I was out in California is that's where our farms are, and I was the only employee. So I was screwing the caps, putting the labels on. Like this was, I drove our first sale in Florida. I drove a truck from LA to Miami and back to deliver it. So this was really bare bones, like me doing this. And I was like, I'm going to prove the concept. I'm going to grow this out. And as soon as we get to the scale that we can move back, I'm going to move back myself, and the team's going to be based here. So that's why I've already been hiring in the area on purpose, partnering with people like you, spending our marketing dollars here in St. Louis as well. Because for me, it's like home field advantage, right? Like, the Cards play at Busch Stadium. They love that atmosphere. Like we're the same way. Like this is our home. This is where we can compete. And so we will, by the end of the year, we will be headquartered in St. Louis, and we'll continue to hire here and do partnerships here as well. So love already partnering with you guys. Love that we could announce it on this podcast, and we'll continue to do stuff in the area, marketing events, promoting, and go through you all to announce that. So keep on the lookout. We'll be doing a bunch of things come these next couple months in the St. Louis area, a bunch of cool events, a bunch of cool partnerships. So stay tuned, Ball Watching audience, and you'll hear about a bunch of cool stuff Seoul Juice is doing.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, and we've talked about it a little bit, just a little teaser, maybe doing a little kickoff party somewhere downtown in the next month or two. So everybody needs to be on the lookout for that. If you hadn't tried Seoul Juice, get to Deerberg's, get to Sam's. You can buy it online at souljuice.com. You can get 20% off at souljuice.com using the code BALLWATCHING, because I have just been loving this stuff regardless. Like I said, I played an indoor game last night, had one. I woke up Sunday morning a little bit tired after the Mizzou football game and watching the City game, a little too tired, had to replenish before my soccer game. So it's an all-around great drink, and I just can't stop drinking it. So everybody needs to get out there and get it. But Luis, any last words for everybody? I just want to thank you again for for coming on.
No, thanks to the audience. They've been super supportive. Get a lot of orders from your guys' podcast. Like we said, run into Ball Watching super fans in stores and doing demos. So that's all great. I would just say find us at Seoul Juice on social media, and keep spreading the word. We appreciate all the local support. There's not really a health beverage brand based out of St. Louis, so we appreciate everyone looking to us and helping support us. So thank you, and stoked to be part of the community again.
Well, thanks again, Luis. And for anyone looking for Seoul Juice, we will definitely provide the links, everything you need to be able to get there and get the product. It is one that we fully and wholeheartedly believe in, and I know one, Luis, you've built from the ground up. So we're proud of you. Obviously, come a long way since we were 18 and in the dorms and figuring our lives out. But I'd say you've put a couple feet right. So we're proud of you here, and we're so excited for this partnership, and a lot more to come on that. So Justin mentioned the promo code, but Luis, myself, and Justin are gonna be a little bit of brain trust here and see what else we can do for you all as listeners here, especially with the new HQ coming back to St. Louis. So Luis, thanks for coming on the show. We're gonna see a lot more of you around town, and welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys, and let's go City.
Let's go City.